Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel for today's video. Wanted to talk to you today about narcissism, the cruddy, crusty narcissist, so that everybody's aware of what these people bring to the table. So let's jump in. The narcissist, man. What do they bring to the table? They're fake. First of all, they're fake. They have no personality. They like to sex you up. And from there, it turns into power control and becoming a tyrant over you. And it starts by them taking control of your emotional field, by getting you to come out of your spirit man into your mind, will, and emotions, which is your emotional field. That's your flesh. Your flesh consists of your mind, will, and emotions, and this meat suit. And that's what the narcissist lives in 24/7. Except they are missing the 9 fruits of the spirit, their true self, their creativity, their inner voice, their inside voice, their intuition, and their true self. And like I said many times before, whenever you sacrifice your true self, you did exactly what it says in psychology. You sacrificed it, so you're a lie. So what comes with the package of the narcissist is usually, if you get this, because sometimes you don't even get this, a good frame, a good meat suit, and that's it. And a whole lot of lies, all lies, a meat suit and lies. And the only benefit you have is if they benefit more than you benefit from going into some sort of situation with you. But typically you don't benefit anything. The only thing that benefits you is you waking up from all the abuse. Finally, if they are toxic enough, you will wake up from all the abuse and you will turn the other cheek. You'll turn the other way. You'll do a 160. And that is true repentance to the Lord, because you're deciding to go the opposite way of the sinful nature completely. Like you've had enough. You've had enough. You know that whatever the devil has enticed you with is not working. And you know this, and it's crystal freaking clear, y'all. And that's what the narcissist brings to the table for you. And whatever that was not true in you, you on a pathway to fix it, to change it, not just to fix it, but to heal it, to walk away. And you got to humble yourself, because they're going to despise you because you're doing something that's righteous and they can't, or they refuse to. And it's not to say anything negative about the narcissist. It's just you're on your own path, they're on their own path, but they choose to make themselves a part of your life still. They don't understand breakup. That's why they don't attach, or just detach. They don't attach. They don't connect with you on a metaphysical. They don't connect with you on a metaphysical, spiritual level. They don't connect with your true self. It's like when two healthy people are together, it's true self to true self with their higher power, with the Almighty. That's connected to each one of those true selves. So it's like the higher power comes down to your true self. Yeah, your mind, will, and emotions are here as tools to help you out. But when you're in a relationship, typically you have an antenna to heaven coming down to give you the good graces that God has for you, and you use your true self, who you were born innately to be. Meaning, with all this garbage, if it was all to disappear, who were you in the spirit before you landed here on earth? Who did God create in you to be? Your beauty, your substance in the spirit. Because even when all this is gone, it's going to go back to who you were in your innate true self. When you go back to God, you go back to God in your innate true self. And all of the things that you have decided to do here on the earth, mixed with your mind, will, and emotions. And when it comes to the narcissist, because they sacrifice their true self, they're just a terminator for goodness. They almost they go back to God as a GMO, as a man-made creature, because that's not what God sent down here. He sent down here a spirit. And when they got to go to judgment, it's as if they lost their spirit. So it's almost like they've been they're judged already almost. I mean, if you're judged already, do you even have to approach the bench and get judged by God the Father? I mean, how do you do that without even having a spirit anymore? Your innate spirit. You know, I don't know how that works. Do you just go straight down? And damnation is something we do to ourselves. So I don't know if a narcissist can recover. I, hate to make decisions for them. So, but what I've seen is the road is grim, and all they're trying to do is make $1 out of living in this sin, y'all. They don't care. They want to take a nickel and a dime and make $1. Scheming, scamming, stealing, ripping, and running. And they don't care what face, what mask, what identity that they have to show up in. They'll do it. And that's pure evil after you have dedicated your substance to them, your whole self to individuals, and you rely on them, you put faith in them, you put hope in them, you put blessings into them, you put your patience, and you try to establish peace with them, you establish love and long suffering with them because you believe in them. And they don't feel the same. They don't believe in you. They don't even care about substance like that. They just care about running away with a bag of money, really. And what is it when you're whatever? What do you know? You're 40 or something, and then you're going to be gone any day. I mean, you're not promised tomorrow. A stone could come out of the air, and you could be some gym rat that looks great and is real healthy, and a rock could come hit you in the head and knock you and buckle you down to the ground, and you'll have a funeral tomorrow. You're not promised tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen. But when you're halfway through your life already and you're still looking to money as the answer to finances, you're a sad case, y'all. You should be working on your spirit, your character, your intuition on point, treating people right. This world is about how we treat people. And it sucks, man, when you got people like trying to send death spell witchcraft on you every day, and trying to send confusion spells and all these weird chaotic spells at you every day. It has an effect on how you operate. Now, if you are a godly person, God covers you, but you still have to deal with the irritation of it and the mayhem of it until God puts them down. And I swear to God, he has so much grace on these fools. It's like I hate to say it, but it's like you'll see light workers being put out every day, the good die young, right? Maybe they weren't operating. That's why I always talk about operating under the right principles to be covered, because if you're not, you're really in trouble if you're a light worker, because these people will flock to you and they will put you down, because you'll fall for all the traps because you don't love yourself and have ironclad boundaries. And then they will witchcraft you and spell you once they pull you down to their vibration level, which is on the level of the demonic. The vibration of demonic, 199 or less, is demonic on the vibrational chart. When it goes from 10 to 1,000, all they can do is go from shame to pride, and pride comes before the fall, it says in the word, because the next level is courage. 200 is courage. 500 to love, but they don't even feel love. That's the bottom level of love, y'all. So they get up to 199 and they fall back down. That's the highest they can get. And they take you down with them. They drag you down with them. And when they get you down to that 10, the shame level, that vibration, then, because all they are is dark energy, they're witchcraft practitioners, whether they like it or not, 24 hours a day. When they're eating, they're dark energy. When they're drinking, they're dark energy. When they're thinking, it's dark energy. So they're an absolute witchcraft practitioner. But when you get these people to actually get into conjuring up dead entities and reapers and trying to destiny swap and reading out of witchcraft books, incantations, and really practice as a witch doctor or a practitioner of evil, and start working with different herbs and things. And voodoo. I mean, I've had to learn some of this stuff, not to practice it, but to know how to protect myself. I mean, a lot of times they're working with the Marine Kingdom too. I don't know if y'all ever looked into the Marine Kingdom, but and this stuff is all in the Word. It's just a lot of times we don't see things in the Word as deeply as we should, and maybe what was being practiced in the Word, it was still being practiced, and it was still meant to be understood, but in a weird way, it can be a little bit more encoded for that era than what we're dealing with today. So sometimes I feel like, you know, we have Google for a reason. We have these AI chats and stuff for a reason. We have them so that we can get information quickly to where we can understand it, but we're supposed to reference the word then, at least. It's almost like, it's like getting information and then going to the word sometimes is what works for me, I found, because this is the way our current society understands witchcraft, to where it, in the time the word was written and printed, it could have been understood with different wordings and things. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that the word is outdated, but I'm just saying, for me, a faster glimpse sometimes is to see what the heck the world is saying and then go to the word, and then I can decode it better, and what's encoded in the word, decipher it better from what's encoded in the word, because I'm taking the current knowledge of the lingo, the speech, and I understand this because it's my current day and era. But I don't neglect the word, but then I go back into the word and see where the statutes stand, and it's easier to pull them out, if that makes sense. But yeah, you can give these people everything, and all they do when you walk away is they plan on destroying you. And depending on how evil they are, or what evil they're attached to, and yeah, maybe it stems from some kind of childhood injuries, and some of the things you went through were childhood injuries, but nevertheless, some of it, it's it's meant for you to go through because you agree to go on contract, covenant, and consent with it by going into a relationship with them. But after a certain time, it's supposed to cycle out. But some of these narcissists, and it's just like anything, God has rules to everything. Witchcraft, God put rules on witchcraft, and God put rules on everything, even evil. So evil can't try to run amok and say that you don't have a statue on that God, so I can do what I want. God knew, and he put boundaries on everything, just like you have boundaries with the narcissist. He has correct boundaries, and sometimes witchcraft can operate in certain, they do have opportunities to destroy, but that's for wicked people that continue to be wicked, or naive people, or weak people who choose to not abide by any of God's principles. But when you went into contract, covenant, and consent, say you're halfway through a cycling of a witchcraft uh, situation, they can only do so much, but you can protect yourself through that cycle until you're done with it. And that's your negative reaping for what you agreed to go into covenant with, an evil doer. Okay, but then you have some narcissists and practitioners, but not all. Most of them respect this, but there's some that don't give a damn. They don't care, and they don't believe in negative reaping. They are so pumped up in their ego, and they believe they are at such a high God level status, they just don't care. And most of the time, that is the case, but not all practitioners are narcissists. So that's where the difference comes in. All narcissists will push this note, but not all witchcraft practitioners will, because they're not all narcissists. Some grew up in it and believe in it, and whatever. We all have an opportunity to be deceived and an opportunity to decide. I'm not here to judge all that. I just know what's right and what's right for me and what I believe is right, because what I do is benevolent. But when you have to deal with witchcraft that's supposed to be taking you out in a coffin, and it's not because you're being protected. Yeah, you're being protected, but you're going to deal with agitations, irritations on a level of attacks that you have no idea, y'all. And I have to deal with them lately. I've had to deal with them on a daily basis, and it will take you out of sorts to some degree. And that's what the narcissist brings with them. Nothing but trouble. big trouble in Little China. And when you wake up and you decide to disconnect, depending on how toxic these individuals are, if you're with a lesser narcissist, it's probably not going to be that big a deal. But if you've been dealing with these fools your whole life and you wake up at the age of 40 something and you start dealing with it, because new levels, new devils, when you start to knock these people out of your life, man, and you've already, before you even woke up, you unbeknownst to you, were dealing with devils and you didn't know it, and you defeated them by God's grace and the principles that you did believe in, and the little bit of love that you did have for yourself. Well, now when you finally do break this curse, finally at the age of 40 something, you're talking about a high level narcissist, because they keep coming stronger. Once you defeat one, they're not going to send the same kind at you. They're not going to send you a middle range narcissist. They're going to send you a sociopath or a psychopath. They're going to be the heavy antisocials, the ones who don't feel anything. And if anything, they get a little bit of anxiety. And that's usually the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath. The sociopath has a little bit of remorse, a little bit, and they have a little bit of anxiety for the things they did, but most of the time a psychopath doesn't feel any of that. And they're really good actors, the psychopaths. They can operate and look like a priest for years while they're out putting people down and throwing them in ditches. Not getting caught, y'all. Come home and eat a meal with the family. So you got to be careful out there and guard your heart, for out of it are the issues of life. And when you don't guard your heart, the Lord says, you become cold, you become disconnected, you lose yourself. Because if you lose your heart and you lose love, you will lose yourself to evil, and it's really hard to get it back. Thank you for watching. Until next time, Slow Jeff. Peace be out.